All right. Hi there, everyone. Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins with KLKN News in Lincoln, Nebraska. I want to talk about a severe weather threat for Wednesday. So first and foremost, here's the slight and marginal risk from the Storm Prediction Center. This is just an overall view of what we can expect. Marginal is the green, slight risk is the yellow. That's level 2 out of 5. This usually means a handful of severe storms are likely, hail, damaging wind, maybe an isolated tornado. So that's kind of what we have going on in the forecast overall. So bit by bit, the tornado risk is low, but it's not zero. It's 2%, which means usually when we see this, we get 1 or 2 tornado warnings out of it. Doesn't mean huge damage, destruction, all that kind of stuff, but it means 1 or 2 tornado warnings possible. Could see some damage. They're usually smaller, but they can still do damage, and 1 or 2, there could be a stronger one too. I mean, that does happen with any kind of severe storm. That possibility is always there in the back of our mind, but this is a low 2%. There's no 5%, no 10%, 15%. That's usually when they start to get pretty particularly nasty, but 2%. So moving on, large hail. This is probably our biggest concern. We have the yellow, that's the 15%, and where you see those black dashed lines, that's a 10% chance of seeing 2 inches in diameter hail or bigger. That's the size of a lime, or like an egg you buy at the store, like large eggs, a dozen eggs, that size. That's what we're talking about with that, or bigger. You know, baseball size hail possibility, tennis ball size hail, things like that. So that's your large hail threat. The wind threat is also there. Oh yeah, black lines 2 inches in diameter are possible. So that's just heads up on that, and that's really just about the entire area that's highlighted for Nebraska. Damaging wind, 50, 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts going to be a possibility, especially in that yellow shaded area. So let's look through the models. This is what radar may look like. The Model 6 and Model 7 are the short-term models in my world. And this is the first one. This is what I'm most leaning towards. See how there's ice, there's just like circles? Those are the supercells that would get going and produce hail. And maybe if one twists up a little bit, that would be a possible tornado. And that's what we kind of have going on here between Lincoln and Omaha around 4:30. West and southwest of Grand Island, just north of Grand Island, those continue to kind of expand and drop to the south ever so slightly, dropping to the south by 6, 7 o'clock at night. Isolated strong storms could have some rotation, could have some large hail, pushing out some gusty wind, and then by 10 o'clock after sunset, that's about it. Model number 7, short-term model once again, kind of the same thing, but it got more of a linear. Notice there's pockets, but it's more of a line. That would be indicative of more wind, especially this one around 4 o'clock. A line here and a line here, line, but there's still kind of pockets in there too. So that would be smaller hail, more wind. The other one, bigger hail, less wind. Pick your poison, right? This one also has it dwindling down a little bit sooner. So both models are on the same page, just the timing's a little different, and maybe the severity of each one just a little bit different. That's normal. Significant hail. These are some of the things I don't show very often. Significant hail, what we're looking for are these darker shades. If you see red, then it's going to be a problem. But we didn't see any red there. All we saw was yellow. And trying to get into that shaded of brown. So that's why there's that 2-inch or bigger probability. Updraft helicity. This is a little different. This means if a storm forms, these areas where these storms would be would have a little twist to them. So between Grand Island, O'Neill, and Lincoln, a little bit of a twist in that storm with the updrafts, updraft helicity, spinning. Just north and west of Lincoln and north and west of Omaha, a little spin to the atmosphere right there, right along I-80 between Lincoln and Omaha. So, I mean, it's not a huge chance. Notice it's down here, the light blues there between Lincoln and Grand Island, over towards Grand Island, a little green right there towards south of Grand Island and south central Nebraska. So this isn't a huge, big deal because you're not seeing the reds or the browns, but there's a little spin in the atmosphere, thus that 2% chance. And the updraft helicity is pointing that out. Now, the significant tornado parameter, I'm not seeing anything above 1, which is good news. Still means there's a chance for a tornado, but once you start to get higher, like the 4s, the 5s, the 6s, that's bad. I don't see any of that on here, but there's still that threat for a tornado. The yellows are out there, the 1s, the 0.1, the 0.5 for the grays, still out there. So the chance is there for a tornado, but the significant tornado threat is relatively low. So that's kind of a little bit of good news, bad news. Threat for tornadoes still there. Threat for significant tornadoes is pretty low. Rainfall amount, probably not a whole lot with as fast as these storms are going to go and as many pockets as there's going to be. Not everybody's going to see the rainfall. Threat assessment, wind, hail, 3 out of 5, tornado, 2 out of 5, and then the flooding potential is going to be there. So there you go. That's your severe weather threat for Wednesday. Be sure to stay tuned. Watch Channel 8 News. We'll have all of the updates as we get closer to this storm system. Stay safe.